Marcus Chen looked out the small window of the transport ship and saw something amazing. The planet below was like a giant blue crystal floating in space. Tall towers made of what looked like sapphire and diamond rose from the surface. Everything sparkled in the light of two yellow suns. "Welcome to Valthara," said the ship's captain. "Hope you brought your cleaning supplies." Marcus smiled, but it was a tired smile. 6 months ago, he had been an engineer fixing machines in factories back on Earth. Then the robots got better and cheaper. The company told him they did not need him anymore. At 35 years old, Marcus found himself without a job and without hope. The interspecies cultural exchange program was his last chance. Earth wanted to make friends with alien races. Most people who got picked were diplomats and scientists. Smart people with fancy degrees. Marcus got picked because someone needed to clean things, and Earth wanted to show they could send regular working people too. The transport ship landed with a soft bump. Marcus picked up his single bag and followed the other humans out. The air on Valthara tasted clean and somehow electric. Everything around him was made of crystal and metal that seemed to glow with its own light. A tall, thin alien walked toward them. It had 6 arms and skin that looked like polished silver. When it moved, Marcus could hear a soft ringing sound, like wind chimes. "Welcome, humans," the alien said. Its voice sounded like music. "I am Coordinator HFY. We will take you to your assignments." Marcus watched as the other humans were led away to important buildings. The scientists went to the research spire. The diplomats went to the government tower. Marcus stood alone with his bag. "You must be the maintenance worker," HFY said, looking at a crystal tablet. "Follow me." They walked through streets that were too clean and too perfect. Every surface sparkled. Every line was straight. Every crystal was cut exactly right. Marcus had never seen anything so beautiful or so cold. The palace appeared in front of them like something from a dream. It was made of blue crystal that seemed to hold light inside it. Towers twisted up into the sky like frozen water. Garden areas had plants that looked like living jewels. "This is the Sapphire Palace," HFY explained. "Home of our royal family. You will maintain the systems here." They went inside through doors that opened without sound. The halls were huge and empty. Everything echoed. Crystal walls showed patterns that hurt Marcus's eyes if he looked too long. "Your quarters," HFY said, stopping at a small room. It had a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out at the gardens. "Your work area is down this hall. The cleaning systems are broken. We need them fixed." Marcus put his bag down and looked around the room. It was nice, but it felt cold. Like everything else here. "When do I start?" he asked. "Now," HFY said. "The systems have been broken for 7 rotations. Our engineers cannot fix them. Maybe human methods will work." The work area was a large room filled with machines Marcus did not recognize. Crystal tubes went up into the walls. Panels covered in symbols he could not read blinked on and off. Everything hummed with power, but something was wrong. Marcus could feel it. He started by looking at everything carefully. The Valthari had given him a translation device that helped him understand their writing. Most of the machines were way more advanced than anything on Earth. But machines were machines. They all had the same basic problems. After 2 hours of looking, Marcus found the first issue. The air system was working too hard. It was trying to clean air that was already clean. Over and over again, the filters were clogged with dust so fine that the alien sensors could not see it. Marcus found some tools that looked familiar enough to use. He opened the air system and started cleaning the filters by hand. The dust came away easily once he used water and a brush. Simple things that the advanced alien systems had not thought to try. As he worked, Marcus started humming an old song his grandmother used to sing. It helped him think. He did not notice someone watching him from the doorway. Princess Zexandra had never seen anyone work like this human. All her life, she had watched Valthari workers move in careful, planned ways. They followed rules and procedures exactly. This human seemed to make up what to do as he went along, and he was making music while he worked. No Valthari would ever do that. Work was serious. Work was sacred. Work was done in silence and respect. But somehow, watching the human work felt right. He moved like he understood the machines, not just their rules. When something did not work the way he expected, he tried something else. When he found a new problem, he stepped back and thought about it before acting. The air system came back to life with a sound like a sigh of relief. Clean, fresh air began flowing through the palace for the first time in days. Princess Zixandra could smell the difference immediately. Marcus stood up and stretched his back. He looked around the room and saw more problems. Crystal panels were dirty in ways the automatic cleaners missed. Water lines had buildups that slowed the flow. Waste systems had blockages that the alien computers could not locate. Marcus rolled up his sleeves and got to work. Each problem was like a puzzle. He had to figure out what was supposed to happen, what was actually happening, and how to make them the same. It was the kind of work he had always been good at. Hours passed. Marcus fixed things one by one. Some fixes were simple. Others required him to take apart machines and put them back together in better ways. He used parts from broken systems to make working systems run better. The palace began to change. Lights got brighter. Air got cleaner. Water flowed faster. The crystal walls started to sparkle the way they were meant to. Princess Zixandra watched it all. She had never seen someone bring order out of chaos with such ease. The human worked like he was conducting music, moving from one task to another in a rhythm only he could hear. When the work shift ended, Marcus cleaned his tools and put them away. He was tired but happy. It felt good to fix things again. It felt good to be useful. As he walked back to his room, Marcus did not know that the princess was still watching him. He did not know that his simple work had caught the attention of the most important family on the planet. He only knew that tomorrow he would come back and fix more things. He had found his place in this crystal world, even if he did not know it yet. Princess Zixandra found herself walking past the maintenance areas more often than usual. She told herself she was checking on the palace systems, but really she wanted to see what the human was doing. Marcus had been working for 2 weeks now. Every day, something in the palace worked better than before. The crystal gardens sparkled brighter. The water fountains played music as they flowed. Even the air tasted cleaner and fresher. The other Valthari workers watched Marcus with confusion. He did not follow their rules. When he cleaned the crystal walls, he used different methods for different sections. When he fixed machines, he added parts that were not in the original design. When something broke, he built new tools to fix it. "He works like a barbarian," she heard engineer Quethmeril complain to her father. "No planning. No proper procedures. It is not the Valthari way." But Princess Zixandra could see the results. The palace had never been in better condition. The humans' chaos somehow created perfect order. One morning, she hid behind a crystal pillar to watch him work on the great fountain in the main hall. The fountain had not played its proper song in months. 5 Valthari engineers had tried to fix it and failed. Marcus stood looking at the fountain for a long time. He walked around it, listening. He put his ear against different parts. Then he lay down on the floor and looked underneath. "Aha!" he said out loud. Princess Zixandra heard him talking to himself as he worked. "Someone put the crystals in the wrong order. The harmony is all mixed up." He started moving the crystals around, testing different combinations. Each time he tried a new pattern, the fountain made different sounds. Some were ugly. Some were almost right. Then suddenly, beautiful music filled the hall. The fountain sang like it had not sung in years. Other Valthari stopped their work to listen. Princess Zixandra felt tears form in her eyes. She had not realized how much she missed that song until she heard it again. That afternoon brought the monthly diplomatic meeting. Representatives from 12 different alien races came to the palace. Princess Zixandra attended as part of her training to be a future leader. The meeting was important. They were discussing trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Everything was going well until Ambassador Threx Cole from the Mantid Collective began speaking. The ambassador wore a translation device that was supposed to let everyone understand each other. But something went wrong. The crystal panels in the meeting room started making harsh, grinding sounds. The air became thick and hard to breathe. Emergency protocols activated, announced the palace's computer voice. Life support. Failure. Detected. Panic filled the room. The Valthari engineers rushed in with their testing equipment, but the readings made no sense. The life support crystals were perfect. The air systems were working normally, but somehow, the room was becoming dangerous. "We must evacuate," declared Chief Engineer Quethmoral. "The systems are failing in ways we do not understand." Quote, as the aliens began leaving the meeting room, Princess Zixandra remembered something. She ran down the hall to find Marcus. He was in a storage room, organizing cleaning supplies. "The diplomatic meeting," she said breathlessly. "Something is wrong with the air. Our engineers cannot fix it." Marcus dropped what he was doing and followed her. In the meeting room, he could immediately feel the problem. The air felt wrong, somehow thick and electric. "Tell me what happened," he said. Ambassador Threxcole was speaking. His translator was working. Then the crystals started making noise and the air changed. Marcus looked at the ambassador's translator. It was a complex device with multiple crystals that vibrated at specific frequencies. Then he looked at the room's life support system. More crystals, also designed to vibrate. "I need everyone to step outside for a minute," Marcus said. Once the room was empty, Marcus started testing things. He turned the translator on and off. He checked the frequencies of the life support crystals. He walked around the room listening to different sounds. "Got it," he said after 10 minutes. He called everyone back in. "The problem is harmony," Marcus explained. "The ambassador's translator makes sounds that we cannot hear. Those sounds mixed with the sounds from your life support crystals. Together, they created a frequency that makes the crystals crack and release bad chemicals into the air." The Valthari engineers looked embarrassed. They had sophisticated testing equipment, but they had not thought about sound frequencies mixing together. "Can you fix it?" asked Princess Zixandra. Marcus grinned. Already did. He had moved some of the room's crystals to different positions. He had also wrapped part of the translator in a cloth that changed how it vibrated. "Try now," he said to Ambassador Threxcole. The ambassador began speaking again. This time, the crystals hummed pleasantly together. The air stayed clean and breathable. The meeting continued without problems. After the other aliens left, Princess Zixandra found Marcus cleaning up the meeting room. "Thank you," she said formally. "You saved an important diplomatic meeting." Marcus looked up from his work. This was the first time the princess had spoken directly to him. She was beautiful in a way that was completely alien but somehow familiar. Her crystal-like skin caught the light, and her large silver eyes seemed to see everything. "Just doing my job," Marcus said, "fixing things that are broken." "Our engineers could not see the problem," Princess Zixandra said. "How did you know what to do?" Marcus thought about how to explain it. "Back on Earth, I worked in factories with lots of different machines. When something went wrong, it was usually because two systems that worked fine alone did not work well together. You learn to think about how everything connects. You see patterns that we miss," she said. "It was not a question. Maybe. But you see things I miss too. This palace is amazing. The way your people design things is like art and science combined. I could never make anything so beautiful." They talked for another hour. Princess Zixandra asked about Earth and human culture. Marcus asked about Valthari history and technology. Each was amazed by how different their worlds were, and how much they had to learn from each other. "I must go," the princess said finally. "But perhaps we could speak again tomorrow?" "I would like that," Marcus said. As she walked away, Princess Zixandra realized something had changed. The human janitor was no longer just an interesting oddity. He was becoming someone she wanted to know better. Marcus watched her leave and felt the same thing. He had come to Valthara expecting to clean floors and fix machines. He had not expected to meet someone who made him want to understand an entire alien culture. Neither of them knew that Engineer Quethmoral had been watching their conversation, and neither of them knew that he was already planning ways to make sure the human janitor would not stay long enough to change anything else. The next few weeks changed everything for Marcus. Princess Zixandra began visiting him during his work hours. She said she was learning about palace maintenance, but they both knew she came for their conversations. She showed him hidden parts of the palace that most people never saw. Gardens where crystal flowers grew in patterns that told ancient stories. Rooms where the walls could display the history of her people in moving pictures of light. Libraries where books were made of singing crystals that played their words as music. Marcus showed her things too. But his gifts were simpler. He taught her human songs and told her stories about Earth. He showed her how to solve problems by looking at them from different angles. He made her laugh with jokes that the translation device could barely understand. "Your people have so much creativity," Princess Zixandra said one day. They were sitting in the crystal garden, watching the two suns set. "You make new things all the time." "We, Valthari. Perfect old things. But we rarely create something completely new." "Your people have something we don't," Marcus replied. "You can make things that last forever. Everything humans build eventually breaks down. But this palace has stood for thousands of years and still looks new. Perhaps that is why we work well together," she said quietly. "Your creativity and our permanence." Marcus felt something warm in his chest when she said, "we." But he also felt worry. Other people were watching their friendship, and not all of them were happy about it. Chief Engineer Quethmeral had served the royal family for 300 years. He had designed many of the palace systems himself. Watching a primitive human fix problems that Valthari engineers could not solve made him angry. "The human uses crude methods," he complained to anyone who would listen. "He has no respect for proper procedures. He treats our sacred technology like children's toys." Quethmeral began finding reasons to criticize Marcus's work. When Marcus improved the efficiency of the air systems, Quethmeral said the changes were dangerously unstable. When Marcus created new tools to clean delicate crystal surfaces, Quethmeral called them barbaric inventions. Worse, Quethmeral started sabotaging Marcus's repairs. He would wait until Marcus finished working on something, then make small changes that caused problems later. When things broke, he would blame Marcus for sloppy human workmanship. The human diplomatic mission was causing problems too. Ambassador Sarah Chen was Marcus's cousin, and she was embarrassed by his assignment. "This makes Earth look bad," she told Marcus during one of her rare visits. "While other planets send their best scientists and philosophers, we send a janitor. It makes us look like we don't take these relationships seriously." "I'm doing good work here," Marcus said. "The palace has never been in better condition." "Cleaning buildings is not diplomacy," Sarah replied. "The other ambassadors laugh about it. They say humans must not have any real experts if we send maintenance workers to represent us." She told Marcus that Earth wanted him to come home. They were planning to send a proper engineer to replace him, someone with advanced degrees and impressive credentials. "Give me a few more months," Marcus asked. "I'm learning so much here, and I think I'm helping them understand humans better." Sarah looked around the sparkling palace and sighed. "Fine. But when the replacement arrives, you're coming home." No arguments. Princess Zixandra was facing pressure too. Her father, Emperor Veltharan, was old even by Valthari standards. The royal council expected her to choose a mate soon, so she could learn to rule with a partner. "Engineer Quethmeral has a son," her advisor Jahexval reminded her constantly. "Quethmeral is brilliant and comes from a good family. He would make an excellent partner for ruling." Princess Zixandra had met Quethmeral many times. He was intelligent and skilled, but he was also cold and rigid. He saw everything in terms of rules and procedures. He would never understand why someone might hum while working or tell jokes to make crystal flowers seem more beautiful. The crisis began on what started as an ordinary morning. Emperor Veltharan was greeting visiting diplomats when he suddenly collapsed. His breathing became labored, and his crystal-like skin turned dull and gray. The royal doctors rushed to help him. They used every advanced treatment they knew: crystal healing chambers, harmonic therapy, cellular regeneration fields. Nothing worked. "It is crystal lung disease," announced the chief medical officer. "A rare condition where the emperor's lung crystals become corrupted and cannot process air properly. Can you cure it?" Princess Zixandra asked desperately. "We are trying everything," the doctor replied. But this particular strain of the disease is mutating too fast for our treatments to work. The Emperor's unique genetic structure makes it worse. We have perhaps 10 days before. He did not need to finish the sentence. News of the Emperor's illness spread quickly through the palace. According to ancient laws, Princess Zixandra could not rule alone if her father died. She would need to choose a mate immediately and undergo the bonding ceremony before she could take the throne. This is the perfect time for you to announce your engagement to Kethmaral, Jhexval said urgently. The people need stability. They need to know the succession is secure. Princess Zixandra felt trapped. She did not love Kethmaral. She barely even liked him. But if she did not choose him, the council might choose someone even worse. Or they might decide she was unfit to rule and place her uncle on the throne instead. Marcus heard about the Emperor's illness from the other maintenance workers. He wanted to offer comfort to Princess Zixandra, but she was surrounded by advisors and doctors. He could only watch from a distance as the palace filled with worry and fear. That evening, Princess Zixandra finally escaped from the council meetings and found Marcus in the garden. She looked exhausted and frightened. "I'm sorry about your father," Marcus said. "Is there anything I can do to help?" "Unless you can cure crystal lung disease, I fear there is nothing anyone can do," she replied sadly. Marcus thought about that. He did not know anything about alien medicine, but he knew about filtration systems and contamination. Crystal lung disease sounded like a problem where something that should be filtered out was not being removed properly. "Can I ask you something about the disease?" Marcus said carefully. "I know I'm not a doctor, but sometimes outside perspectives help." Princess Zixandra looked at him with hope in her silver eyes. "Ask whatever you want. How do Valthari lungs work exactly?" As she explained, Marcus began to see similarities to Earth problems he had solved before. Contamination that normal filters could not catch. Systems that needed both chemical and mechanical cleaning. Problems that required thinking about biology and technology together instead of separately. An idea began forming in his mind. It was crazy and probably impossible, but it was also the only hope he could think of. "I might have an idea," Marcus said quietly. "But it would mean combining human and Valthari medicine in ways that have never been tried before." Princess Zixandra gripped his hand. "Tell me everything." Marcus spent the next 2 days learning everything he could about Valthari biology and crystal lung disease. Princess Zixandra brought him medical texts and translation devices. She also smuggled him into the medical wing to observe the Emperor's treatment. What Marcus saw made him more confident in his idea. The Valthari doctors were trying 2 different approaches. Some used biological treatments to fight the disease like an infection. Others used technological methods to repair the damaged lung crystals. But no one was trying to do both at the same time. "On Earth, we had a similar problem with water treatment plants," Marcus explained to the princess. "Sometimes contamination was both biological and chemical. You needed to clean out the living parts and the non-living parts together, or neither treatment would work. But Valthari medicine does not combine biological and technological approaches," Princess Zixandra said. "Our laws say they must be kept separate. Mixing them is considered dangerous. Laws can be wrong sometimes," Marcus said carefully. "Especially when someone is dying." Princess Zixandra made a decision that would change everything. "Show me your idea. If it could save my father, I will help you try it." They worked in secret in Marcus's maintenance workshop. He had Princess Zixandra bring him medical equipment piece by piece so no one would notice. She also brought him samples of the contaminated crystal material from her father's lungs. Marcus's plan was complex but based on simple ideas. He would create a device that could clean the Emperor's lungs the same way he cleaned the palace systems. It would use mechanical filtration to remove physical contamination, chemical processes to neutralize biological threats, and energy fields to repair damaged crystals. The hardest part was making all 3 processes work together without interfering with each other. Marcus spent hours testing different combinations. Many attempts failed completely. Some worked partially but caused new problems. "This is impossible," Princess Zixandra said after their 10th failed test. "The processes are too different. They cannot work together." "That's what everyone told me about fixing your fountain," Marcus replied. But different systems can work together if you find the right harmony between them. On the fourth night, they finally succeeded. The device cleaned a sample of contaminated crystal perfectly, removing all traces of disease while leaving healthy tissue untouched. Princess Zixandra stared at the results in amazement. "It works," she whispered. "It actually works." But their celebration was interrupted by footsteps in the hallway. Chief Engineer Quethmeral appeared in the doorway, followed by several palace guards. "I knew the human was up to something dangerous," Quethmeral announced. "Princess, step away from that contaminated equipment immediately. This equipment could save my father's life," Princess Zixandra said firmly. "This equipment is an abomination," Quethmeral replied. "The human has convinced you to break our most sacred medical laws. Mixing biological and technological treatments is forbidden because it is dangerous. People die when amateurs experiment with medicine. The Emperor is dying anyway," Princess Zixandra shot back. "Our traditional treatments are not working. Then he will die with honor, following proper Vialthari medicine. Not like a laboratory animal in some primitive human experiment." Quethmeral ordered the guards to destroy Marcus's equipment and arrest him for illegal medical experimentation. But Princess Zixandra used her royal authority to stop them. "I order you to let us try this treatment," she commanded. "As future Empress, I take full responsibility. You are not Empress yet," Quethmeral reminded her coldly. "And you cannot become Empress while unmarried. The Council is already discussing emergency succession plans. I'm quote. The Empress, this was a threat. If Princess Zixandra did not marry someone approved by the Council immediately, they would find another way to fill the throne, someone more willing to follow traditional rules. That night, while the guards watched Marcus and the Council debated succession laws, Princess Zixandra made her own decision. She could not let her father die without trying everything possible to save him. She snuck into the medical wing and carefully moved Marcus's treatment device to her father's room. The night doctors were Valthari she had known since childhood. She convinced them to let her try the experimental treatment. "If this kills him, it will be treason," warned Dr. Mixthala. "If we do nothing, he dies anyway," Princess Zixandra replied. "At least this gives him a chance." She had watched Marcus operate the device many times during their tests. The process was delicate but not complicated. She connected the crystals to her father's breathing apparatus and activated the cleaning sequence. For an hour, nothing seemed to happen. Then slowly, the Emperor's skin began to brighten. His breathing became easier. The gray color faded from his crystal-like features. By morning, Emperor Veltharan was sitting up and asking for food. The improvement was so dramatic that even the skeptical doctors had to admit something remarkable had happened. But the celebration did not last long. Quethmeral arrived with half the royal council and a squad of guards. "Princess Zixandra, you are under arrest for medical treason," he announced. "You used illegal alien technology to experiment on the Emperor without proper authorization." "I saved his life," she protested. "You contaminated him with human methods," Quethmeral replied. "We do not yet know what long-term damage this treatment may have caused." The guards moved to arrest both Princess Zixandra and Marcus. But before they could act, a weak but clear voice spoke from the medical bed. "Stop this foolishness immediately." Emperor Veltharan was awake and aware. Though still weak, his voice carried absolute authority. "Father." Princess Zixandra rushed to his side. "How do you feel?" "Better than I have felt in months," the Emperor replied. He looked at Marcus with interest. "You are the human janitor who created this treatment?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Marcus said nervously. "I'm sorry if I caused problems by—" "You saved my life," the Emperor interrupted. "There are no problems with saving lives." Quethmeral stepped forward angrily. "My Emperor. The human used forbidden combinations of technology. He violated our medical laws. He turned our princess into an accomplice to illegal experimentation." Emperor Veltharan studied Quethmeral carefully. "And what would you have had them do instead? Watch me die while following rules that clearly do not work for unusual situations. I would have had them follow proper procedures and accept the will of fate." Quethmeril replied. I see, the Emperor said quietly. Then he made an announcement that shocked everyone in the room. Effective immediately, I am creating a new position in our government. Marcus Chen is hereby appointed as our first cross-species innovation specialist. His job will be to find new solutions that combine the best of different worlds' knowledge. The guards looked confused. The council members whispered to each other in alarm. Quethmeril's face turned dark with rage. You cannot do this, Quethmeril said. The council must approve all new government positions. I am still emperor. Veltheron replied firmly. I can create any position I choose, and I choose to embrace innovation over tradition when innovation saves lives. But Marcus could see this was far from over. Quethmeril was already planning his next move, and the human diplomatic mission would be furious when they learned Marcus had performed medical procedures without proper authorization. The real fight was just beginning. The next few days were the most dangerous in the palace's history. Emperor Veltheron was recovering, but he was still weak. Chief Engineer Quethmeril used this time to gather supporters among the royal council. The Emperor is not thinking clearly, Quethmeril told the council members. The human's experimental treatment may have damaged his mind. He is making dangerous decisions that threaten our entire civilization. Many council members were frightened by what had happened. They had spent their lives following careful rules and traditions. The idea of mixing human and Valthari methods scared them. What if other aliens start demanding to change our ways? Asked Counselor Pixhela. What if humans try to improve more of our systems? We could lose everything that makes us Valthari. Quethmeril nodded seriously. Exactly. This human janitor has already corrupted our princess and confused our emperor. If we do not act now, he will destroy our culture from the inside. Meanwhile, the human diplomatic mission was furious. Ambassador Sarah Chen stormed into Marcus's workshop with angry words. Are you completely insane? She demanded. You performed medical procedures on an alien emperor without any training or authorization. Earth could be held responsible if something goes wrong. Something was already going wrong, Marcus replied. The emperor was dying. Now he's getting better. That's not the point, Sarah said. You made Earth look like a planet full of dangerous amateurs who ignore other cultures' laws. I'm ordering you to return home immediately. A transport ship will arrive tomorrow. Marcus felt trapped between two worlds. The humans thought he had gone too far. The Valthari Council thought he had corrupted their traditions. Only Emperor Veltharan and Princess Zixandra seemed to understand what he was really trying to do. That evening, Princess Zixandra came to his workshop looking worried. Quethmeril is planning something, she said. He has been meeting secretly with council members and some of the palace guards. I think he is going to try to remove my father from power. Can he do that? Marcus asked. If enough council members agree that the emperor is mentally unfit to rule, they can declare a temporary regency, she explained. Quethmeril would become regent until I marry an approved partner, and he has already chosen who that partner should be. His son, Marcus guessed. Princess Zixandra nodded miserably. If I refuse, they will say I am also unfit to rule. My uncle would become emperor instead, and he agrees with everything Quethmeril wants. They sat in silence for a moment, both feeling hopeless. Then Marcus had an idea. What if we expose Quethmeril's sabotage? He suggested. If the council knew he had been deliberately breaking things and blaming me for the problems, they might not trust him to lead a rebellion. What sabotage? Princess Zixandra asked. Marcus explained how Quethmeril had been changing his repairs to make them fail later. I noticed it weeks ago, but I thought it was just jealousy. Now I realize he was building a case against human methods by making them look unreliable. Can you prove it? Marcus smiled. Remember when I told you I worked in factories? The first thing you learn is to keep records of everything. I have documentation of every repair I made and every failure that happened afterward. The pattern is pretty clear once you know what to look for. They spent the night gathering evidence. Marcus's careful records showed exactly which systems had been tampered with and when. Princess Zixandra used her access to security recordings to track Quethmeril's movements through the palace. The proof was overwhelming. Quethmerl had sabotaged dozens of Marcus's repairs over the past month. He had done it so carefully that the failures looked like accidents, but the pattern was unmistakable once you saw all the data together. The confrontation came the next morning. Quethmerl arrived at the throne room with half the royal council and a dozen guards. He carried a formal petition declaring Emperor Veltheron mentally unfit to rule. "My emperor," Quethmerl said with false respect, "the council has decided that your recent decisions show dangerous judgment. We must respectfully request that you step aside until your mind clears from whatever effects the humans' treatment may have caused." Emperor Veltheron, now strong enough to sit on his throne, looked at the petition calmly. "And I suppose you have a suggestion for who should rule in my place?" "The council agrees that I should serve as regent until Princess Ziggs Andra marries properly and is ready to take power with her husband's guidance." "I see," the emperor said. "And what crimes do you claim against the human who saved my life?" "Illegal medical experimentation. Violation of our sacred laws. Corrupting our princess with primitive human ideas that threaten our civilization." Emperor Veltheron nodded thoughtfully. Then he turned to Marcus and Princess Ziggs Andra, who had been waiting in the hallway. "Before I respond to these accusations," the emperor said, "perhaps the accused should have a chance to speak." Princess Ziggs Andra stepped forward. "Father, I have evidence that Chief Engineer Quethmerl has been sabotaging palace systems and blaming the failures on Marcus." The council members gasped. Sabotage was one of the worst crimes possible in Valthari culture. Princess Ziggs Andra presented all their evidence. The repair records, the security footage, the pattern of failures that always happened just after Quethmerl had access to the systems. "This proves nothing," Quethmerl protested. "These could all be coincidences." "Could be," agreed Emperor Veltheron. "Marcus, is there any way to test these claims right now?" Marcus smiled. "Actually, yes. Quethmerl sabotaged the fountain in the East Garden yesterday morning. I saw him do it but didn't have time to fix it yet. If we go there now, everyone can see exactly what he did and how it will fail when someone tries to use it." The entire group walked to the East Garden. The fountain looked perfect, but when they activated it, harsh grinding sounds filled the air instead of music. Marcus pointed to specific crystals. "These have been moved to wrong positions. The sabotage is designed to look like my repair work. But actually, I use a completely different crystal arrangement pattern." He quickly moved the crystals to their correct positions. Beautiful music began flowing from the fountain immediately. "The sabotage pattern matches what we found in all the other failures," Princess Ziggs Andra added. "Quethmerl has been systematically destroying Marcus's work to make human methods look unreliable." Quethmerl's face turned dark with rage. "You cannot trust alien evidence. They are working together to destroy our traditions." "No," said Emperor Veltheron firmly. "You have been working to destroy trust between our species." "Guards, arrest Chief Engineer Quethmerl for sabotage and treason." As the guards led Quethmerl away, he shouted final threats. "This is not over. You are destroying everything our ancestors built. Future generations will curse your names." But the council members were no longer listening to him. The evidence was too clear. Quethmerl had betrayed their trust and damaged their palace for his own political gain. Emperor Veltheron turned to Marcus and Princess Ziggs Andra. "You two make an excellent team. Your different skills complement each other perfectly. That gives me an idea for solving our succession problem." He announced a new form of partnership that had never existed before. Instead of traditional marriage, Princess Ziggs Andra and Marcus would be bonded as innovation partners. They would rule together, combining Valthari wisdom with human creativity. "This partnership honors both our cultures," the Emperor explained. "It creates something new, while respecting something old. It proves that different peoples can work together without losing what makes them special." The council was hesitant at first, but they could not argue with results. The palace worked better than ever. The emperor was alive and healthy. Even the diplomatic crisis had been resolved when other alien races saw how human innovation could solve impossible problems. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the Crystal Garden with Princess Ziggs Andra, watching young Valthari learn human problem-solving methods, while human students studied Valthari precision techniques. "Do you ever miss your old life?" she asked. Marcus thought about the factory where robots had replaced him, the unemployment and desperation that had brought him to this world, the loneliness of feeling useless and unwanted. "Not even for a second," he said. "I found something here I never had on Earth. I found a place where being different was valuable, instead of being a problem." Princess Zeke's Andra took his hand. "And I found someone who showed me that the best solutions come from bringing different worlds together. Ah. I would be in ready 100 somewhat than savant. I would be in some Princess Zeke's Andra." Above them, the two sons of Valthara were setting behind crystal spires that now gleamed brighter than ever. In workshops around the palace, humans and Valthari worked side by side, creating innovations that neither species could have imagined alone. Marcus had come to clean a palace. Instead, he had helped build a bridge between worlds. And sometimes, if you listened carefully to the wind in the crystal gardens, you could hear him humming while he worked,